Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Me, 52M, just found out at least 4 of my 5 children, 33F30F28M24F14F, are not mine. Wife, 51F, won't say anything. Note, please do not use ancestry kits as a paternity test. If you genuinely want to check your child is your own, get a proper paternity test at your local medical lab. Ancestry tests are not accurate, and should not be used to test paternity. In my case, it simply raised the alarm to get a proper test. I apologize if this is not an appropriate sub to ask. I posted this on r/relationships but it was locked, and the mods suggested I ask on r/parenting. But I also want relationship advice on how to deal with my wife, so I want to ask for advice here, too. First of all, I'm sorry if this ends up being long and rambly. I am not really in the best state of mind. My world has been turned upside down over the last couple of weeks. I just want to write as much context as possible so I can get the best advice needed. For obvious reasons, I am not yet comfortable talking about this with my friends/parents/siblings. Background: I met my wife when we were in high school and we married in college. We have 5 beautiful children together. Really, I consider them a total blessing regardless of what I'm about to bring up, and up until a couple of weeks ago I thought that we had the perfect marriage. We were typical high school sweethearts. We go out together, we never fight. I feel like I've done everything a loving husband should do. I am saying this not to make myself out as the perfect husband. For example, my work has always meant I work long hours and maybe haven't always been there when she needed me, but I want to stress that I've never felt our marriage was in any trouble. And never in a million years would I ever have suspected my wife of being disloyal. She's always done everything she could to support me and take care of our children. Now, my eldest daughter recently had an ancestry test done. And the results of the ancestry test strongly suggested I was not her father. She confided this to me privately, showing me the results, and I could tell she was visibly upset by this. Of course, the first thing I did was reassure her that no matter what, she's my daughter and I'll always love her unconditionally. But secondly, the two of us decided to get an official paternity test since the ancestry tests are not completely reliable. It comes back and I am indeed not her biological father. This news really broke me. I'm ashamed to say I broke down in tears in front of my daughter. The combination of finding out about my wife's infidelity and how upset I was making my daughter by how I was reacting. I really wish I had kept it in for her sake, but I didn't. Following this, I asked my other children, except my youngest, to come and see me. I wanted to know the extent of my wife's infidelity. If it was a one-off, I could maybe work past it, especially given how long ago it would be. However, I didn't want to tell my youngest as she is still in school, a teenager, and really I didn't think it was appropriate to tell her yet. We tell the other 3 what has happened. I reassure them that I love them unconditionally and that I'll always be their dad, but that I need to know how long this has been going on. God, I can't begin to explain how touching their reaction was. They didn't care that I wasn't their biological father, they were just upset at how heartbroken I was. I feel like the only thing that has kept me going these last couple of weeks is their unwavering support. So we have paternity tests for each of the 3 done. Not only are none of them my biological children, together 4 of my children have 3 different fathers. Which somehow made it worse. It's like, she wasn't just having an ongoing affair, she was having multiple? I can't explain how this makes it worse, but it just does. So I confront my wife with this, expecting her to confess and beg for forgiveness. She doesn't confess. She doesn't even take it seriously. She says the tests must be flawed. All 4? How the hell am I supposed to take that seriously? I keep bringing it up and she keeps brushing it off, getting progressively more annoyed at me. When I bring it up, she will try and guilt trip me. We've been together since high school, do you seriously not trust me? Etc. But how am I supposed to trust her in the face of such overwhelming evidence? Now that I have rambled and explained what has happened, I guess let me ask a few direct questions for advice. How can I reassure my children this doesn't change anything between us? I feel like the way I have reacted, total breakdowns, has made them second guess this despite however many times I reassure them. How do I handle my youngest daughter? I feel like our marriage is beyond saving, and I will need to tell my daughter something. I don't want her to know the truth until she's older, but I also don't want my wife lying and making me out to be the villain. Is there any way at all, you think I could or should save my marriage? I've been with my wife my entire life. It's almost impossible to see a life without her. I know that the answer should be a clear-cut leave her, but we have 5 kids together. If there's anything that can be done to save our marriage, I want to consider it seriously. TL, doctor, found out at least 4 of my 5 kids are not mine. Wife refuses to confess her infidelity. Unsure of how to do what's best for my children and marriage. Edit, thanks so much to everyone for all the support and advice. I have not replied to as many comments as I should have, but I've read each and every one and taken your advice to heart. I'll continue reading any comments or messages you send me. Again, I can't begin to thank you for all your support. If this is resolved I might post an update, but if she continues to lie then I don't think I'll bother, as there's not much more I can add. From the advice in this and the r/parenting thread I've decided to get second tests just in case some freak accident has occurred. Confront my wife with all 4 of my older children present. Tell my youngest of the situation. Ask her if she wants to have a paternity test. It will be entirely her decision. I'm 100% going to get some form of therapy. My mental state has really been deteriorating over the last couple of weeks, and I owe it to my kids to hold it together. Depending on whether my wife tells the truth, and what her explanation is, if any, I have not ruled out some form of counseling. But at the moment I think divorce is inevitable unless she changes her attitude drastically. Contact a lawyer and prepare for divorce, if it comes to that. Once again I'd like to thank all of you for the time you took to express your support and share advice. Edit 2, I guess I should clarify some things that people have been asking. How did the ancestry results suggest I wasn't her father? My family is entirely Irish. No relatives outside of Ireland other than my immediate family, and I even have the stereotypical red hair. My daughter's ancestry results showed nothing from the British Isles/Western Europe/Northern Europe. That's what set off alarm bells, but it's by no means conclusive, hence the paternity tests. Which 2 children share the same father? My 2 eldest daughters share the same father. How did your wife conceive your children? Our eldest daughter was not planned. All the others were planned. Each time we conceived several months after we started trying. Our first 3 planned children were both our ideas, while she pressured me into having our youngest. She was in her late 30s and wanted one last child before it was too late, and eventually I agreed. She was conceived several months after we started trying, too. Are you infertile? I don't know. I've never had a fertility test done. But the fact that none of our planned children are mine makes me think that I might be. I will have a fertility test as soon as possible. I wouldn't worry about trying to save the marriage. If she's still lying to you, in the face of overwhelming evidence, then there's nothing left to save. Talk to a lawyer about how to start the divorce process, and follow their advice to the letter. Sit your youngest down and have an age-appropriate conversation with her. Tell her that you and her mother will be getting a divorce. That it turns out that the other kids aren't your biological kids. That you still love them and are still their father, but you won't be able to stay married to their mother. That she can have a DNA test done as well if she wants. But that she doesn't have to, you'll love her, and she'll be your daughter either way. She also doesn't have to decide that right now. Then take it one step at a time. Sort out the logistics of leaving, find yourself a new place and get yourself set up. From there, I'd start looking at ways to maintain your relationship with all of your children. With the youngest, make sure to get as much custody as you can, even full custody if that's possible. For all of the children, try to come up with some traditions that everyone could enjoy. Maybe they all come over for dinner at your house once a month. Maybe there's a standing invitation for any of them to come over for Sunday lunch. Maybe you get together every so often and try something new together, pottery/kayaking/rock climbing etc. Whatever will work with everyone's schedules. Make sure you keep in touch with each of them individually as well. Ask about how their lives are going. Offer to help them with projects they're doing, especially around the home. Be good to them and to yourself. And never badmouth their mother. I don't think you would, from what you've written, but try never to set them up in opposition to her. Or that they can't see her/treat her well if they want you to like them. You'll be co-parenting with your soon-to-be ex for the next several years, so make sure that's as easy as possible for everyone concerned. And make sure you get your youngest child to a counselor/therapist. This will be devastating for her. Suggest it to the other kids as well. It's going to be tough on all of them. Therapists are like, what do you think about your mother being a filthy whore? A normal divorce is devastating for a 14-year-old. I can't even imagine how distraught I would be if my parents were getting a divorce. My dad isn't my actual dad. From there, I'd start looking at ways to maintain your relationship with all of your children. With the youngest, make sure to get as much custody as you can, even full custody if that's possible. Therapists are wastes of money. They will almost unanimously take the woman's side, the one who ducked a man other than her lawfully wedded husband. /you/need advice. Desperate, don't leave the house. Make the bitch leave. In many states, leaving the house can have big consequences when it comes to deciding ownership. Leaving can be construed as abandoning the marriage, which will work against you since you're a man. From my own divorce experience, when it comes to divorce, do not telegraph your plans or discuss them with your soon-to-be ex-wife beyond what is absolutely necessary, i.e. what your lawyer tells you to do. This will only work against you. She's a liar and doesn't respect you, and this means that she will treat you terribly in divorce proceedings. Don't give her the upper hand. Also, poison the well of lawyers. Search for top lawyers on https://www.martindale.com/ and then get consultations with the top-rated ones. Choose the one you like the best. For example, you get along professionally, he explains things to you in layman's terms, you're on the same page about the kids, etc. By paying for the hour-long consultation, they are now aware of the case, and if she tries to hire them, it will create a conflict of interest. So, you will shrink the pool of lawyers she can choose from. This is good, because you get what you pay for with lawyers, and getting a bad one will give you an upper hand. Forget about being nice. This woman you're married to is about to become an evil monster and is going to come after you for everything and will attempt to destroy your life. Do not get lulled into thinking that she will be reasonable or loves you. She won't, and she doesn't. Steel yourself for the horrors that are about to come, and do not tell her you lawyer up or are preparing for divorce. Let the subpoena do the talking. Best of luck. Listen to this man. People who have big lies to cover for in this situation can turn on a dime, and you must, as he said, steel yourself for the horrors. There are men's support groups that can help you overcome this. My own mother is very narcissistic, and it has caused me much trauma and mistrust of women as well. And if you do the lawyer route, you can still maintain healthy relationships with your children. They have eyes, ears, and brains, and can make up their own damn minds who actually has their best interests at heart in all of this, especially since they are all adults. The 14-year-old is going to be a tough one, though. This is the best advice in the thread. Hi. I'm really sorry to hear this. What a brutal and cold way to find something like that out. And for her to lie continuously is unbelievable. It's deplorable. I wanted to try to answer your questions. It sounds like you handled this like a champ and spoke to your kids before and after about how much this didn't affect your relationship or love. Just keep that up. They will need you. You will need them. Your youngest will have questions and it's up to you when she's ready to hear the truth. This one sucks, but you seem like an amazing dad, and if your wife decides to lie, you may have to take her shit for a while for your child's sake. Your other kids may defend you. The truth may come out. It would be a no from me unless she immediately confesses entirely and takes responsibility and apologizes. And agrees to therapy, both individual and couples. For me, I would need full access to her phones, her emails, everything. She's still lying to you right now with actual DNA proof in your hands. That's bullshit. Anything else, just ask. I would leave. She had multiple affairs and multiple children with multiple men and can't even own it when caught. But I never want to be like that person who just says leave. It's a lot. There's a lot we don't know. This is your life. Thank you so much for your kind words and support. The consensus on my youngest seems to be that I should tell her the truth now. That waiting until she's older might make her feel betrayed for being kept in the dark. Do you have any thoughts on that? My top priority right now is her well-being. Everyone else is an adult and can handle whatever happens, but she is still young and I worry that it will seriously negatively affect her development. If you don't tell your daughter while everyone else knows, then she's going to be incredibly hurt once she does find out. She's going to know something's up. As you and your other kids deal with this, keeping her ignorant of the truth is just going to push her to one side. And when you tell her later on, it's going to bring up all of that pain and confusion for you and everyone else all over again. It may open old wounds, and new ones for everyone. Telling her now gives her the chance to deal with this as part of the family, with the support she needs as you go through all of this together. If she's not biologically related to you, then everything she thought was true is suddenly going to be a lie. Her mother lied to her, as she's lied to you all for so long. It's understandable that you want to protect your youngest, but adding to those lies is only going to cause her more pain in the long run. She deserves to know the truth, to make her own mind up. If you don't tell her, you are going to have to create a massive conspiracy of silence just to protect her. When she eventually finds out, she may think that you've done exactly as her mother has done, and she may not trust either of you then. She may think you've kept it quiet because you're scared to know the truth. That your relationship with her is only based on whether or not she's really yours. And that's assuming you succeed in keeping the truth from her. This is big. How is she going to feel if she finds out from someone else? Someone who might not tell her with kindness and reassurance? If you don't tell her now, then you risk letting her find out the truth in the worst possible way. You're giving your wife the opportunity to tell her God knows what, and right now you don't know who your wife really is or what she's capable of. She's not the woman you thought you married. You need to protect your kids from your wife, not the truth. Your youngest is going to be mad no matter what. She's probably going to be mad at you, your wife and her siblings. Telling her now gives you the best chance to reassure her of your love and trust. This is a shitty situation and I really hope you'll get through this op. You need to consult a lawyer ASAP. Speaking with a lawyer is very important right now. Don't worry, I will contact a lawyer as soon as possible. I'm still hoping there's a way we can salvage our marriage, but divorce seems inevitable, and I intend to be prepared for it. You need to contact one now and stop trying to confide in your wife. She isn't on your side. Spoke to a friend a while back whose American brother was separated then divorced from his Colombian wife and son. The wife was getting child support and would tell the brother that the kid wasn't his as a way to win or end arguments and get under his skin. He went and got a legit DNA test done during a visit. After a long battle, about a year or so in court, the brother no longer owed child support and the ex-wife was ordered to pay the child support back to the brother of my friend. This was in a Boston MA court. Fellas, in this type of situation, don't get discouraged by what these fools tell you. Just because you're a man, doesn't mean the world automatically has a license to shit on you when it comes to domestic issues. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and believe me, they know when something is up. She will be extremely upset that she was the only one left out if you don't tell her. So sorry you are going through this, but so I have so much respect for you for never leaving those kids. You are their father no matter what. Thank you for the silver kind stranger. To add to this, like Hop's youngest, I was the youngest of my siblings by some years, about 6, and there were things I was left out of because my parents decided I wasn't old enough, when I was around Hop's daughter's age. Even years later, when everyone else talks about how special it was to them that they were able to be together at that moment, my parents pulled my older siblings out of school for this, and didn't tell me until I got home and it was over. I'm reminded over and over again that my parents made that decision for me, and I don't think I'll ever forgive them for it. This kind of thing is going to be tough for anyone at any age, but being told years later that everyone else was told except for you is going to make it even worse for her. She is old enough to be told. Okay, wow, I'm sorry she refuses to address the situation. Have your children all confront her at once, intervention style. This. And honestly, do you really want to save your marriage? Not 1 but 3, maybe even 4 of your kids aren't yours. It's not just one cheating, it's multiples. Unless she did some random sperm donor stuff. But like why? And the fact she is denying evidence says it all. Get everyone round and ask her WTF happened. 4 kids, 4 kids aren't his. The 5th is undetermined. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd bet $1 that the youngest isn't his either. Edit, had to manually correct autocorrect. I think we all agree there. About future update. I have received a lot of messages/comments asking about an update, and countless remind me comments. I am unsure how they work, but I assume they are also after an update. I will post an update, but it will not be anytime soon. This entire mess will take a long time to, well, make any sense out of. I don't know when I will post an update, but it will be weeks from now at a minimum, if not months. But I promise it will come eventually. Once again, thanks for the tremendous support everyone has shown me. Do take your time. I've been feeling kind of shitty since I read your story, kind of like a sympathy pain. You don't deserve the shit that's happening to you, and I hope someday you meet someone that will make up for this injustice. I think people want an update simply to be able to feel some sort of closure, knowing you'll hopefully be in a better situation sometime later. Take care of yourself. Cheers, mate. Take your time and take care. Hope everything goes as smoothly as it can. FYI. Remind me is those users calling a bot to remind them to check on you later. You have a lot of people sending you positive vibes. We're proud of how you're managing the situation. Best of luck. Final update. I have been debating whether or not to post an update, because nothing was ever resolved. I decided I would post it here in case anyone is still waiting for one. I apologize for not updating early when I promised I would. My kids and I confronted their mother shortly after making that Reddit post. It really didn't go well. I think the prospect that no one believed her finally hit home, because she completely broke down and apologized profusely, but refused to explain herself, or anything that would give myself peace of mind. For the next few weeks we barely said a word to each other. I was hoping she was thinking it over, and I expected her to eventually sit me down and explain herself. I figured she was so far deep in a lie that got out of control, she needed time to think things over. Nope. I came home one evening to find she had committed suicide by overdosing. So I lost the love of my life, and I'll never know what mistakes she had made. I really wish I could go back in time and forget about it all. Whatever mistakes she made, I honestly wanted to work through it, and now I'm just riddled with guilt that I pressed her for an answer. The worst part of this entire ordeal was watching my kids work so hard to keep me together, after having lost their mother. Anyway, Please tell your family you love them while you have the chance. There is guilt that is earned, and guilt that is unearned. Your guilt over her death is unearned. You did nothing wrong by asking her, you did nothing wrong by trying to get answers so you both could move forward, which is what you were doing, asking so could figure out how to move forward, whether that be together or not. You did not put those pills in her hand. You did not tell her this was her only option. You did not make her decisions for herself. She did. She made the decisions to cheat, she made the decision to lie and continue to lie, she made the decision not to fight for her marriage when her bad choices came to light, to not fight for her children, her life. She made all those decisions on her own, without you. That is on her, not you. Her guilt for those decisions was earned. You have no reason to carry her burden, you have not earned that guilt. I know that is way easier said than done, so I hope you are in therapy to help with the grieving process, which is always complicated, but particularly so in this case. I'm so sorry for your loss, and so sorry for all the pain you and your family have felt. Thank you for updating, though you owed us internet strangers nothing either. Took the words right out my mouth. Enjoyed the silver for saving me the words, considering that I'm not nearly as eloquent as you are. So true, and please remember that S is one of the most selfish thing. I feel like this is her last pull to make you feel guilty for her, and that's not fair to you. I disagree that S in the most selfish thing. Even in this case, I don't think it was a selfish thing. As someone who has suicidal thoughts and almost attempted a few times, I find your statement to be uneducated. The wife, in this case, was not mentally sound, from what it sounds like, from the begging, cheating multiple times, gaslighting, and in the end, sadly dying by her own hands. We don't know what goes through her head, but for all we do know, she could have realized that her actions had consequences, and she thought that she was a stain on the world and did deserve her life for what had done to her wonderful husband. She could have done this because she was trying to help. I am definitely not saying the wife is the victim or anything else. She was a shitty, terrible person who deserved everything she should have been given. Divorce North Carolina from the children, etc. I'm just trying to go through possibilities of what she could have been thinking, drawing from my own experiences and others with similar experiences as mine. But she could have done it because she wanted to keep her secrets. She was a shitty person either way, and I hope Pop will heal from this. I can't give him any more love in my heart than I do already. As someone who has had suicidal thoughts and has a friend who committed S and a family member, I will stand by my post, and you have no right to say I'm uneducated considering you don't know what I've been through. Spoken like someone who doesn't know what it's like to commit S. No one knows what it is like to commit S. Whoosh. You did nothing wrong. What she did in the past, and her reaction to being found out were both completely out of your control. I'm sorry to say it, but ending her life the way she did was just as selfish as the decisions she made that led to that decision. Be thankful to your children for being good people, and know that whatever else she was, she at least did her part in making them who they are today. Obviously return to therapy immediately. You're the only parent your children have left. It's going to be hard, but be strong for them. It'll get better. Oh shit, that took an unexpected turn. My condolences dude, I mean seriously, that's just horrible. That said, her actions are not your fault. She made the choice of holding things in and letting it eat her up on the inside. She could have come clean about what happened and opted to try to work things out with you. Her ending her own life is entirely on her, and it could have still happened even if you hadn't pressured her. Once her deception was uncovered, it may have started the process, and she may have felt that there was no way out, despite knowing that all she had to do was open up to you. Even if it hadn't been uncovered, at some point, the deep knowing of it on her own could have eventually caused her to go down a path of self-destruction. Main point is that you shouldn't blame yourself for any of what happened. She did what she did, and for whatever reason, felt she couldn't confess any reasons for what she did. All you can do now is focus on trying to rebuild your life, and possibly try to figure out, somehow, who the biological fathers are. It's important for them to know, in case there are any health issues that could affect them. Not only that, but the sperm donors have a right to know that they had kids that they weren't aware of. Whether or not there are any relationships between the fathers and your kids is for them to decide. Your kids may not want anything more than health history information, which is fine. It's going to be a long process, but in the end, you can survive this. It's obvious your kids love you very much, even if you aren't their biological father, so that means you raised them right. They care about the person, not the DNA, and in this situation, that's the important thing. You might try reaching out to some media program, Inside Edition, NBC's Dateline, as examples, but for whatever is appropriate for where you live. They may be able to help figure out who the biological fathers are, and can be essential to recording first meetings and even in trying to find answers to questions. Documenting most, if not all, of everything that happens, so that it not only helps you to get closure on what has happened, but would make a very good story for others, who will undoubtedly wish the best for you while feeling your pain. There could be others out there who are living in a similar situation, and it could prompt the wife to come forward about it, or help a husband better cope if he realizes it's happened to him. There are many benefits to have your story told, so I hope you will consider it. As a side note, and I don't know if this really happened or if it was just some made-up story that I heard one time, but supposedly, a woman disguised herself as a man and kept up the ruse so well that she was able to remain married to a woman for many years. The odd thing about it was their having children, which I believe was speculated to have been donations from other guys that were somehow collected. So in a manner of speaking, the wife/mother was birthing children from other guys when she thought it was with her husband, who was really a woman. How's that for a big twist? Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, it just goes to show that really strange things can and do happen sometimes. Like I said before, none of what happened is your fault, so please don't blame yourself at all. You were obviously a loving husband who trusted his wife, as a husband should do. You did the right thing by trying to show your daughter that those ancestors-like tests can be unreliable, which they really can be. Just in this instance, it happened to be right, about one thing at least. You did the right things, so you are not to blame for how things turned out. She was not the love of your life. I think you know that. And you were probably not hers. I'm guessing it was the guy she shared that secret with for so long. The world is blessed to have people like you with us. But even with all the love in the world, some people cannot be helped. You know what to do, I won't presume to tell you. But don't think she was the love of your life. You never really knew her. And her relationship with you was never real love, but a shadow of it. There are good women out there that need good men like you. And you deserve a life. Dude. You need to take off those rose-tinted glasses and come to terms with the fact your wife was utter scum. Your relationship with her was built on lies and deceit. I don't think I need to explain why she's scum for the cheating etc., but it sounds like you're more concerned with the fact she killed herself than the fact she did it to run away from her problems and left you without the answers and closure you're rightfully due. I don't typically think S is the selfish coward's way, but in this instance, she most certainly did it because she couldn't face the consequences of her actions and didn't want to answer for them. She went out the same way she lived her life, selfishly. Your children can see the situation for what it is. You're the victim in all this, not her. That's why they're more concerned for you than grieving for their mother. Wait, so there wasn't even a S letter? Nothing? This is just incredibly sad, and I can only imagine how empty you must feel without closure. Most importantly, like everyone else has pointed out, this is definitely not your fault. If you are anything like the way you write your Reddit posts, then I'm pretty sure almost every other guy would have pressured her way harder than you did, not to mention straight up kicking her out of the house etc. You are most definitely not to blame here, and I can only hope that you will eventually find out what happened so you can at least get that peace of mind you are looking for. Congrats. Also, stop calling what she did a mistake. A mistake is a mistake. She made a decision, a choice, Multiple times. If I slapped you across the face 4 times, you wouldn't call that a mistake now, would you? It's ironically the attitudes of men like you that lead to women thinking they can get away with things like this. You probably would have forgiven her, which is absolutely pathetic. Your willingness to forgive, the sentiments you express and the attitude that you have towards her actions are exactly why she saw you as the kind of man she could do this to. Ever think about that? Dude, I'm so sorry for you and your kids. They lost their mother/wife, but she must have been so out of herself to do this to herself. And I'm going to be completely honest, she doesn't deserve remorse or sympathy for what she did. She knew what she was doing and knew that one day it'll all come running back to haunt her. She is a scumbag for lying to you and your kids for so long, and thought she could get away with it again. I'm sorry for your loss, but she got what I think she deserved. Much love to your kids and you. My God, please don't feel guilty, you literally did nothing wrong. I'll say the stupid thing people say: she escaped her responsibility by taking the cowardly way out. She hurt you, your children, your mentality. She didn't even have the decency to explain herself. I'm sorry all of this shit show happened to you, but you still have your beautiful children and they love you so much and try to make you happy. That's the best thing you could ever have. I hope everything goes well for you. Listen, I don't want to sound evil, but your wife did those things to herself. It was her that cheated. Not once but 4 times. She just didn't want to deal with it, so she decided to end it. You did nothing wrong but stand up for yourself. Frankly, you're an amazing person. You still care about your kids and assure them of their father. Clearly you raised them well because they have a deep bond with you. Just appreciate them and never look back at this. Just know it's not your fault. She was a ducking monster, but you can still grieve the person you thought she was. And I am so sorry this has happened to you. Thanks for posting the update. Not your fault. She was committed to deceiving you even in death. She was a lifelong coward. Not a criticism, but a simple fact. My guy, don't be sorry. Don't feel guilty. She chose to cheat on you several times. The emotional baggage it caused her wasn't your fault, it was her own. She disrespected you as a husband, a father, and individual, and as a man. You have great kids, and I'm happy they're so supportive of you. But she doesn't deserve your sorrow. She'll be burning in hell for good reason. I hope you find the peace of mind you deserve, and get over that bitch. F. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.